I thought today I would show you the software which I wrote House of Scarabs. This is the finished manuscript. Well, finished in that it's now with the editor, and it's written in a software which you'll see up here called Scrivener. And Scrivener is a software specifically for writing novels, screenplays. It's for writers. And in Scrivener, you'll see that there's a whole list of folders here, which is what we write the manuscript in. So we're currently on the opening chapter, or the front page, and then each of these has subsections, as you can see here, of the book. So I actually write in here. This is the writing. Over here is a section that tells me a general outline of what I'm going to be writing when I'm writing the scene. You can see I'm currently at my first edit, that it's to be included in compile, and there are other scenes here. I can look, for instance, on the corkboard. If we go there and then look at the corkboard again, you'll see my little cards that just tell me an overview of what each chapter will be about. As I went further in the book, I did a lot more outlining. So towards the end of the book, Ellie's quest here, if you click on that, you'll see these were much more detailed outlines, because I got a little stuck at the beginning and had writer's block, and I was trying to just write intuitively, but that failed hopelessly for me. So at the end of the book, I went into much more detail. So that's the software I wrote it in. Then you'll see I have all sorts of, these are detailed, it's not looking very detailed there, I don't know what's happened there. Yeah, so here is a overview on Gerhard, the basics of his name and age, where he comes from, his appearance, his personality. I rather like this picture. That's exactly how I imagine my Gerhard to be. His family, various other information. And then Bertram. This was the guy that I really felt reflected Bertram in his buffoon-like way. Caro Smythe. This was the woman that I imagined as Caro Smythe. And then an overall listing here, which is all of the characters in the book, from the main characters, Charlie and Shannon, and down through lesser characters, the members of the Guardian of the Ankh, the familiars, and any bit part Mrs. Trollope, who's upset when the fire means that her granddaughter's christening cake is lost, and all the way through the tiny little bit part characters in the book. So I have that. And then you might think, well, you just write a book off the top of your head. Well, I didn't actually. I had a dream, which was what created the story, but after that I did quite a lot of research. So these are the various places. I kept records of information that I might find useful for the various sites. So that's Serapeum. I wrote about the coffin with the lids. That's what the coffin and the lid looks like. I actually visited the Serapeum myself. My husband and I went, and it's really quite an amazing place. It has been a little bit overly restored, as I mentioned in the book, but anyway, I put pictures here to just remind me of what it all looked like, information about it. Mandersley, which is Bertram's house, so what it is, the setting, its role in the story. This is what I imagined it looked like. And then the libraries were a little bit like that. So Saqqara, all about Saqqara, images, etc. So all the way through. Scarabs Rest. I'll show you Scarabs Rest. I found this house. I love to look at houses, and I found this house when I was just doing my normal browsing on property, and I just fell in love with it. And this is what I used as the setting for Scarabs Rest. It is a stunning house, and it is actually in Beckington, which is the village I set it in. So Stunning, stunning, stunning old house. So black cats, that was the image that I liked as the front of black cats. Cairo houseboats, when I write about Karim and his houseboat, well, this was the kind of thing I was envisaging. So there are lots of houseboats. Having lived in Cairo, you see a lot of houseboats on the Nile, and it's quite a bohemian lifestyle there, and I wanted to reflect that. So yeah, so that's the research section and places. I wrote rules for the book, so what the book formatting must look like, timelines, chapter graphics. And if you've now, no, I won't tell you. I'll keep that up my sleeve. And word rules, things. These were some of the Arabic words I used. My sister-in-law was kind enough to help me with this. So, and then there's more research here. So you'll see this watch, which even now, I'm hoping no one ever asked me to say that, because I do not know how to say it. Bissemapfeler. I have to ask one of my German friends how to say it. But anyway, this watch I found fascinating. And I used it as the basis for Gerhard's watch. It's really beautiful. It's an ancient, probably the oldest fob watch or pocket watch in the world. And it was found in numerous pieces and then put back together into that. And they believe it's the very first pocket watch. So I came across that in my research, loved it, and incorporated it into the story. And then the daily rituals. So I understood a little bit about the rituals of religious rituals in Egypt, so I could write about it. The measurement of the ket. I really wanted to make a measurement that was obviously ancient Egyptian, so it took me a while, but I eventually settled on the ket, and this is various information, including calculations, so I could work out how many kets it was approximately. Ammonia. I use ammonia as my choice of toxic gas in one of the scenes. So information all about ammonia here. And Egyptian look, Saudi. I have them dress up in Saudi clothing. I've never really lived or spent any time in Saudi whatsoever, so I didn't know anything about it. So I had to do some research here into what everything was called so that I could write appropriately. And then this was my ill-fated and never-ending whole entire day it took me to research how long it would take you to get from Komombo to, I think it was to Luxor, I can't even remember now, it was such a, yes, Komombo to where? Maybe to, I don't know, but anyway, it took me absolutely ages to work out how long it would take to get there. And then this is what I envisaged the Thebes to look like, which was Karim's boat. You can see here. So, and then finally, so those are all the research and rules of the books and everything else. And at the end here, I've got a whole load of information about how I'm actually going to publish the book. So what categories it will fall into, editing options, marketing ideas, keyword, the blurb. I've got a whole load of hooks for the blurb here to try and describe the book. I'm actually finding writing the blurb harder than writing the whole entire book. So these were various hooks that I've been testing. So for instance, their destiny defined 2 millennia before, a well-oiled militia hunting to kill them. 3 strangers must unite or risk losing their lives. It's kind of not I guess it's sales, and I've never really liked sales, which could be why I struggle with this. It's not a précis of the story so much as pulling out tiny little facts and highlighting them in a salesy manner, and I find that hard. I think most authors find that hard. And then content marketing ideas. So this is one of them. I don't know if it says in here somewhere. So yeah, share a video or images of my writing space, just things to keep people interested in what I'm doing. So that's it. That's the file and system that I use to write House of Scarabs.